It felt like a fever dream, a hallucination born from agony, but the voice that shattered the darkness was unmistakably real. It was his voice, Jamsu Eurostrade's voice. Yet, this was not the cool, sardonic tone he always used with me, the one that dripped with condescension and rivalry. No, this was a sound I had never heard before. Euros, a raw, frantic terror that clawed at the edges of his words. A firestorm raged within me, each breath a shard of glass tearing through my lungs. I forced my heavy eyelids open, the world dissolving into a smear of color and light. Through the haze, I could just make out his silhouette, a stark figure against the gloom. He should have been gloating, savoring the sight of his great rival brought so low. But the man I saw was not triumphant. Jamsu Eurostrade's brow, usually a smooth, arrogant line, was crumpled into a knot of deep concern as he strode towards me, his movements sharp and urgent. There was no time to process the sheer wrongness of it all. My consciousness was fraying, and as I surrendered to the encroaching blackness, I felt myself being lifted into an embrace that was impossibly, bewilderingly warm. I never imagined I would see the light of day again. My last conscious thought was that James had finally come to end me. But when my eyes fluttered open, it was not to the cold earth of the demon realm, but to the elegant silk canopy of a magnificent bed. I was enveloped in softness, lying in a room so spacious and opulent it felt unreal. Sunlight streamed through carved windows, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. Where was I? A presence in the room drew my attention. A man stood by the window, cloaked in black robes that seemed to drink the light. His hair was the color of a starless night sky, his form lean and graceful. When he turned, his beauty was breathtaking, almost lethal. His face was a masterpiece of sharp angles and pale skin, but it was his eyes that held me captive. Euros, they were as clear and brilliant as polished glass. And there, between his perfectly sculpted brows, was the demonic mark, a vibrant, blazing crimson that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. It was James. He looked down at me, his handsome features arranged into a mask of pure arrogance, his thin, red lips curling into a smirk. "Matthew," he purred, his voice regaining that familiar, chilling quality. "So, you've finally fallen into my hands." Yes, that was it. That was the innate coldness, the tone he reserved just for me. The panic I thought Eurostrade heard must have been a trick of my dying mind, a final, cruel illusion. I shifted, preparing to meet his taunt with one of my own, when another voice echoed in my head, as clear as a bell. Who did this? Who in the nine hells dared to harm my Matthew like this? My precious Wither Eurostrade LL, slaughter them. I will tear them limb from limb and grind their bones to dust. I froze. What in the world was that? I stared at James, whose lips hadn't moved an inch. Yet the words were still ringing in my mind, filled with a homicidal rage that was terrifyingly sincere. Was I going insane? Had the trauma finally fractured my mind? I blinked, trying to clear my head, and managed a weak, defiant rasp. "Yes, I am in your hands. Do with me what you will. I no longer care." My words were a surrender, a welcome to the end. But the voice in my head screamed a different story. "Kill you? Matthew, how could I ever kill you? I wouldn't Eurostrade dare to even dream of harming a single hair on your perfect head. Never." His spoken words, however, were entirely different. "No," he scoffed, his expression unreadable. "The contest between us remains undecided. I will not allow you to die so conveniently." With a grunt of effort, I pushed myself up with my trembling arms, struggling to sit. The movement sent a fresh wave of agony through my broken body. In a flash, James was at my side, his swift movement barely a blur. And again, the voice, laced with frantic worry. "Matthew, don't Euros trade T move. You are Euros trade grievously injured. You must rest." A wild, impossible thought sparked in the chaos of my mind. Could it be? Was I somehow hearing James Euros trade's innermost thoughts? There was no way to prove such a ludicrous idea. My head was a tangled mess of pain and confusion. I decided to test the waters, to follow his spoken words to their logical conclusion. "I am already a cripple," I said, my gaze falling to my lap, the weight of my reality crashing down on me. "The great demon lord can claim his victory at any time." I let the despair bleed into my voice, the utter hopelessness that had become my constant companion. And truly, I couldn't comprehend it. How had my life veered so violently into this nightmare? Just 10 years ago, I was the pride of the Cold Cloud sect. My master had found me, a promising orphan, and brought me into a world that felt like a dream. He was a benevolent father figure, my fellow disciples like true brothers and sisters. It was the first real home I had ever known. Fueled by gratitude, I poured every ounce of my being into cultivation. I trained relentlessly, my power soaring, my name echoing through the immortal realms after every competition I dominated. They called me the child of destiny, a prodigy blessed by the heavens. All I ever wanted was to bring honor to my sect, to repay the kindness of my master and my martial family 1,000 times over. But that idyllic decade was a lie. A beautiful, meticulously crafted cage they had built just for me. A few days ago, the gilded bars had shattered, revealing the ugly truth. 10 years prior, Leo, the master's only son, had suffered a catastrophic injury that left him comatose. On an excursion, my master discovered me. He saw not a child, but a vessel. A boy with unparalleled talent, a superior spiritual root, and rarest of all, a natural immortal bone. I was not a disciple, I was a cure. They brought me back and nurtured me, fattening the lamb for the slaughter. When my cultivation reached its peak, when I was ripe for harvesting, they struck. They held me down, ignoring my screams and my pleas, and they carved out my nascent soul. They ripped my spiritual roots from my body, a pain beyond any physical torment, and transplanted them into Leo. 10 years of shared memories, of laughter, of trust Euros, all of it culminated in a single, cold sentence. "This is a debt you owe Leo, Matthew. It is time to repay the sect." They promised I wouldn't die. No, they wouldn't grant me that mercy. I would live, but as a useless, powerless mortal, doomed to suffer an ordinary life until I withered away. A debt? What debt did I owe Leo, a person whose name I hadn't even heard until my world came crashing down? What did I owe the sect that had used me as a living incubator for their precious young master? The day they performed the transfer, a young man stood before me. He was naive and handsome, with features that held a faint, mocking echo of my own. While I was caked in my own blood and filth, a broken thing on the floor, he was pristine. He smiled, a lazy, entitled smile. "So, you're Matthew. I see the resemblance." He looked me up and down with disdain. "But what of it? I am the true young master of this sect. Your spiritual roots and cultivation are adequate. I will accept them. As for you, a stray dog they picked up from the street Euros, consider it an honor. We will allow you to remain in the outer sect and sweep the stone steps." He spoke as if he were bestowing upon me the greatest of generosities. But even that wasn't enough. My power and soul were not the final price. They coveted my immortal bone as well. It was only as they prepared to carve that last piece of me away that I found a desperate, final surge of strength and fled. I ran until my legs gave out, until the world blurred, and somehow I stumbled into the demon realm, into James Eurostrade's territory. James, the sovereign of the demon race, a being of caprice and chaos, unrestrained and utterly unpredictable. We were archenemies, our names forever linked in tales of rivalry. For years, our battles had been the stuff of legend, epic clashes that spanned from the highest heavens to the mortal plane and into the depths of his own domain. We were perfectly matched, a mirror of power, and neither of us could ever secure a definitive victory. He was a true warrior, obsessed with battle, and I had come to see him as the only opponent truly worthy of my steel. That was why I had come here. I thought it would be a more honorable end to fall by his hand than to be vivisected by the very people I had called family, to have every last drop of my value squeezed out of me. But nothing was as I thought it would be. James, it seemed, had no intention of killing me. "I don't make a habit of preying on the weak," James said, his voice a low drawl as he drew closer. He reached out, his long, cool fingers tilting my chin up, forcing me to meet his gaze. "In this world, there is no one I cannot heal, should I choose to." And then, the other voice, a torrent of frantic emotion that flooded my mind. "What is Matthew thinking? He looks so broken. My heart aches seeing him like this. I just want to pull him into my arms and kiss away his pain. Who did this to him? Who? I will find them, and I will make them experience an eternity of suffering. Matthew, Donna Eurostrade be sad. Please, Donna Eurostrade be sad. I swear on my soul, I will make you whole again. Your cultivation, your spiritual roots Euros, everything will be restored." "Water Euros, what was this?" I stared into his eyes, those mesmerizing glass-like orbs. On the surface, they were calm, projecting an unshakable determination, but deeper, in their depths, I saw Eater Euros, a flicker of raw, undisguised heartache. My own heart gave a confused flutter, and I quickly looked away, a strange heat rising in my cheeks. What were these voices? What was happening to me? And so, in a daze, I found myself a resident of James Eurostrade's imperial chambers. He called me his captive, a prize of war. But my treatment was anything but that of a prisoner. I was given a chamber of breathtaking size and luxury, served meals fit for an emperor, and plied with rare spiritual herbs and elixirs so potent that even in my heyday at the Cold Cloud sect, I had never seen their like. James even summoned Daniel, a medical cultivator whose fame extended across all 5 realms, to personally oversee my recovery. I held little hope. My condition was no simple injury. My very foundation as a cultivator had been stolen. Throughout these strange days, I remained in a stupor, unable to process the cataclysmic shift in my life. And James, the ruler of an entire realm, seemed to have nothing better to do than watch over me. Every single day, he was there. And every single day, I continued to hear those impossible voices. Through trial and error, I discovered a peculiar rule: I could only hear them when I was within 5 paces of him. Matthew looks so beautiful when he eats. His eyelashes are so longer Euros they cast little shadows on his cheeks. His skin is like porcelain, and his lips Euros, they look so soft. I desperately want to kiss him. I set my soup spoon down with a clatter, the delicate sound echoing in the silent room. I couldn't take it anymore. I looked up, meeting his unwavering gaze. James. He remained perfectly composed, as if he hadn't just been mentally composing poetry about my lips. "What is it?" he asked, his tone flat. "Are you going to stare at me like this indefinitely?" He nonchalantly lifted a teacup, taking a slow sip. "Naturally, this lord will not afford you any opportunity for escape." The inner voice, however, was a lovesick fool. "I just want to look at you, my love. For the first time, I can gaze upon you without pretext. Matthew, please don't Eurostrade find me tiresome." I was utterly baffled. How could one man be so stoic and severe on the surface, yet so shamelessly improper in his heart? I sighed, a soft sound of resignation. "You know perfectly well that in my current state, I have no way of running." James neither confirmed nor denied it. "One can never be too certain," was all he said. "Is Matthew blushing? Is he angry or shy? Gods, why is he so devastatingly handsome? I could look at him for 1,000 years and never grow weary. Why did he stop eating? He eats like a bird. No wonder he Eurostrades so slender. Damn it, are the dishes not to his liking again? I went to the trouble of kidnapping the best chefs from the immortal realm for this." My eyes widened. It was true that my appetite had been small. I wasn't accustomed to the rich demon realm cuisine at first. But Tadair Eurostrades' meal was actually perfect, reminding me of the flavors of my youth, and I had eaten more than I had in days. Had James truly gone to such lengths? Eurostrade find more chefs later. Eurostrade scour all the realms. Hearing his mental declaration, I spoke up quickly. "The food is truly delicious. Thank you. There is no need to terrorize any more cooks in the immortal realm." James flinched, a barely perceptible motion. His eyes flickered away from mine. He cleared his throat and snorted. It is a simple meal, but his mind was singing a different tune. Matthew said it was delicious. He liked it. He even thanked me. This is the best day. After our meal, Daniel arrived to check my pulse. "Your Highness," he reported to James, "Lord Matthew's external wounds are healing well. However, the recovery of his meridians will be a long and arduous process. It will require someone with a cultivation base at or above the deity transformation stage to regularly help him dredge and clear the blockages." James Eurostrades' brow furrowed. "How often?" "Every 3 days," Daniel replied, his expression grave. "Lord Matthew Eurostrades' cultivation has been entirely scattered, and his spiritual roots have been excised. His body is now, for all intents and purposes, that of a mortal. He requires meticulous care." James nodded grimly. "Fortunately," Daniel continued, a spark of hope in his voice, "Lord Matthew Eurostrades' immortal bone remains intact. It is not impossible for him to cultivate once more." But then his face fell. I found myself clenching the fabric of my sleeves. "But," I prompted. Daniel sighed. "I'm afraid it would require the aid of a divine artifact Euros the morning moon pearl." The flicker of hope that had ignited within me was instantly extinguished. I couldn't help a bitter smile. A divine artifact from legends. Something no one had seen in centuries. Of course, there was no way back for me. Beside me, James's expression was solemn. "I understand," he said, his voice low and firm. He seemed to be more invested in my recovery than I was. When it was time for my medicine, he would approach with a bowl, his face a mask of indifference. But his mind was a gentle whisper. "Matthew, it's time for your medicine. Your Eurostrade feel better soon. I know Eater Eurostrades bitter, but I have some candied fruits ready for you. He looks so vulnerable when he takes his medicine so obediently. When, oh when, will I be able to hold him openly and comfort him? By now, I was growing accustomed to the bizarre dichotomy of James, but hearing his thoughts still sent a faint warmth to my cheeks. The medicine was as bitter as promised, a truly vile concoction. But as soon as I swallowed, a small, sweet fruit was pressed against my lips. James Eurostrade's cool fingertips brushed against my mouth as he fed it to me, and the sweetness bloomed, instantly chasing away the acrid aftertaste. He had fed it to me himself. I stared at him, about to speak, when his mind exploded with a new thought. I touched Matthew's lips. Fair Eurostrade so soft, incredibly soft, unbelievably soft. I Carner Eurostrade even imagine how heavenly it would feel to kiss him properly. What on earth was this man thinking? His mind was a chaotic whirlwind of inappropriate fantasies. I shot him a glare, hoping to silently communicate my desire for him to tone it down. James, I can take it myself. He paid my words no mind, his gaze still fixed on me with an unnerving intensity. So what? Matthew Eurostrade's eyes are wide and round right now, like a Carter Eurostrade's. So adorable. I mean no harm. I just Carner Eurostrade to stop myself from wanting to touch him. There was no reasoning with him. I gave up. A moment later, he spoke, his tone deceptively casual. Have you finally seen the light and abandoned that nest of vipers? As he said the words, his expression hardened, his voice dropping an octave. Did they harm you? My fingers curled into fists. I hesitated. Why do you ask? I already knew the answer. The Han Yun sect would have spread their version of the story, painting me as a traitor who had defected and was now being hunted. Has the news already reached the demon realm? It's nothing, James said, waving a dismissive hand. Just a pack of dogs barking. But his mind was a snarl of fury. Matthew looks so sad. It must have been them, those shameless, hypocritical bastards. Whoever laid a hand on Matthew, I will personally tear them to shreds. Later, I would learn my guess was correct. The Han Yun sect had publicly announced that I, Matthew, was of poor character and had suffered a cultivation deviation from my reckless ambition. They claimed I had not only lost my power but had also betrayed the sect. A realm-wide hunt was underway to bring me back for judgment. They had spun a tale from whole cloth, twisting the truth until it was unrecognizable. It was laughably tragic that I had been blind to their nature for so long. As the demon Lorder Eurostrade's captive, I was under his constant watch, yet my freedom was not restricted. His palace was a sprawling complex of magnificent halls. The grandest of them all was Fuan Hall, my current residence. James told me the entire palace was named Yuanqing Palace. The name felt strangely familiar, and I asked him why he chose it. He merely smiled, a secretive, meaningful curve of his lips. This lord fancies it. His mind, however, boasted proudly. Of course, it's a portmanteau of Matthew Eurostrade's and my names. It sounds so perfect, so melodic. I am a genius at naming things. No wonder it sounded familiar. My body was slowly healing. At least the constant, agonizing throb in my meridians had subsided. I stepped out of my chambers and into the courtyard. The sky in the demon realm seemed clearer, a more vivid and boundless blue that calmed my restless soul. The courtyard was vast, dominated by a towering pear tree in full, glorious bloom. A soft breeze stirred the branches, sending a flurry of white petals drifting down like snow, blanketing the ground in a layer of frost. The sight was so beautiful it took my breath away. And then, a memory pierced through me. There was a pear tree just like this one outside my old residence at the Han Yun sect. I used to love practicing my swordsmanship beneath its blossoms. My senior brother, Michael, would always be there, watching me, his words full of praise and encouragement. But on that last day, under that very same tree, his sword energy had been anything but gentle. It had come for me, merciless and cold, as he spat his questions at me. When did you become so selfish? You won our Euros trade to even save the young sect master. The memory was so vivid, so painful, that a surge of turmoil churned in my chest. I doubled over, a sudden, violent cough racking my body as I spat a mouthful of dark blood onto the pristine white petals. Before I could even register the pain, a heavy cloak was draped over my shoulders and strong hands gripped me, steadying me. What happened? Jamser Eurostrade's voice was sharp with alarm. The next thing I knew, he had scooped me up into his arms, bridal style. The pain in my chest was blinding, but I was too weak to protest. I could only let my head fall limply against his chest as he barked for Daniel. After a quick examination, Daniel reassured him. It's nothing life-threatening. Lord Matthew was simply overcome by emotion. The surge of Kai rushed to his heart, causing the Kai and blood to rebel. It is best for him to maintain a peaceful state of mind. A pang of sorrow shot through me. I closed my eyes, murmuring, "All right. Thank you." "Don't speak," James commanded, his tone harsh. He placed me back in bed, tucking the covers around me with a surprisingly gentle touch, though his expression remained cold as ice. His mind, however, was a frantic mess. What are Eurostrade's wrong with Matthew? He was just looking at the pear tree and suddenly he Eurostrade's spitting up blood. Does he hate it? But he always has the faint scent of pear blossoms on him. I thought he liked it. Whatever. Our Eurostrade LL have that cursed tree chopped down tomorrow. The poor, innocent tree. There's no need for that, I whispered. James was still lost in his spiraling thoughts. Is this room too small? Is it making him feel confined? Or is he angry that our Eurostrade am keeping him here? But our Eurostrade am not trying to imprison him. I swear, he Eurostrade's just too fragile to be wandering around on his own. I'm fine, I explained, my voice faint. I just remembered something unpleasant. Then don't think about it, James said firmly. He placed his fingertips on my forehead, and a gentle stream of spiritual power flowed into me. A comforting warmth spread through my body, soothing the turbulent energy in my chest. A heavy drowsiness washed over me, and my eyes drifted shut. When I woke again, the bed was no longer empty. James was sitting beside me, cross-legged in Mason, a mere 3 inches away. The instant my eyes opened, his own snapped open to meet mine. He then looked away quickly, a clumsy, awkward movement. Does it still hurt? He asked, his voice carefully neutral, but his mind was wailing in sympathy. My poor Matthew. I can't Eurostrade T even imagine the pain your Eurostrade V endured. You were frowning even in your sleep. It breaks my heart. It breaks my soul. I wish I could take all your pain and transfer it to myself. Please, stop torturing my boy. I was taken aback by the intensity of it. It doesn't hurt anymore, I replied. A strange restlessness bloomed in my chest. That term of endearment my boy it was unbearable. Good, he nodded. Then he announced, from now on, I will sleep here. Okay, I said, showing my understanding. I had learned this was his personal bedchamber. I began to get up, intending to gather my things and wait for him to assign me new quarters. But his hand shot out and grabbed my arm. "What are you doing?" he demanded. "There are no spare bedrooms in Yuanqing Palace. You will continue to stay here." What did he mean? The astonishment must have been plain on my face, because he added, "I need to personally supervise you, even at night." "Is there a problem?" I frowned, skeptical. Yuanqing Palace was enormous. How could there be no spare rooms? But he looked so serious, so certain. He wouldn't lie about something so trivial, would he? As I pondered this, his inner monologue provided the real answer. "Please, Matthew. I just want to be near you. I want to watch over you while you sleep. You're so fragile. What if you start spitting blood again in the middle of the night? I can't leave you alone. I promise. €euros trade LL be good. I wanna euros trade T do anything untoward. I wanna euros trade T lay a single finger on you. Matthew, please, please just agree." I looked at him. His face was a stern mask, but his lips were pressed together in a tight line, and if I looked closely I could see a hint of nervousness, of pleading, in his eyes. I let out an internal sigh. "Fine, forget it." "All right," I conceded. That night, after James helped me dredge my meridians, he removed his outer robe and lay down beside me. The bed was massive, with more than enough space for 2 people to sleep without touching. I lay on my back, staring up at the canopy, my thoughts adrift. In my entire life, I had never shared a bed with another person. I expected to feel awkward, uncomfortable, but perhaps because his scent had become so familiar to me, it didn't feel strange at all. There was just one problem. Oh my gods. Am I dreaming? €euros trade am finally sleeping in the same bed as Matthew. My sweet, soft Matthew. My fated lover. I want to hug him. I want to hug him so much. But I can't euros trade T. He euros trade LL get angry. He wanna euros trade T let me sleep here anymore. This damn heart. Why is it beating so loudly? What if Matthew hears it and gets scared? Damn it, control yourself. €euros trade am more excited than when I achieved my last cultivation breakthrough. It was so loud, so annoying. In the darkness, I lay with my eyes open, feeling both helpless and resigned. "James," I said softly. "I'm sleepy," he replied instantly, his voice a little too quick. His mind, meanwhile, went into overdrive. "Oh gods, is Matthew being cute with me? What do I do? What should I say? Can this stupid mouth of mine say something intelligent for once? Is he having trouble sleeping? Maybe if I held him and soothed him." No, he would never allow that. Not now. The chaotic internal monologue showed no signs of stopping, but strangely, cocooned in the deep, frantic rhythm of his thoughts, I felt myself drifting off, falling into the deepest, most peaceful sleep €euros trade D had in a very long time. That night, I dreamt of the first time I met James. It was not, to be honest, a pleasant encounter. It was in an ancient, secret realm. I had just slain a monstrous beast and was utterly depleted. My hair tie had snapped in the fight, leaving my long hair unbound and tangled around my shoulders. My white robes were torn and stained with blood from several wounds. I was a complete mess. As I was about to find a place to rest, a clear, deep voice called out from behind me. "Th this fairy euros, are you all right? €euros, I have some medicinal salves. If you do not mind, I can help you treat your injuries, fairy." I frowned in confusion. There was someone else here. I hadn't sensed a soul. As I started to turn, a sharp pain flared from one of my wounds, and a wave of dizziness washed over me. My body swayed, and I was about to collapse when a strong hand caught me, steadying me. Fairy Warriors. I finally turned my head fully and met his gaze. The man froze, and an unnatural blush crept up his handsome face. "Thank you," I said. His expression was a comical mixture of shock and horror. "You are Euros, you're a man." It was then I understood. He had mistaken me for a woman. A flicker of annoyance went through me, but he seemed so genuinely flustered that it was hard to stay angry. I explained patiently, "I am a man, sir. Perhaps you have mistaken me for another." His face went through a series of rapid changes before settling into a thunderous scowl. His thin lips pressed into a hard line. After a long, awkward silence, he let out a strange, ambiguous huff, but he didn't release the arm that was still supporting me. Later, I learned he was James, the newly ascended Demon Lord. For centuries, the relationship between the demon and immortal realms had been a cold stalemate. After James took power, nothing changed. I had little interaction with his people, but after that day, I began to run into him with an almost comical frequency. He seemed to hold a personal grudge against me, one that only intensified when he learned I was a disciple of the Cold Cloud sect. The second time we met, he challenged me to a duel with a furious intensity, as if I had personally wronged him. I found him utterly bizarre, but he was a powerful opponent, and I accepted. So began our years of fighting. The final scene of my dream was on a windswept mountain peak. After a particularly fierce bout, James suddenly tossed something at me. "Here," he grunted. "Replace that shabby thing on your sword. It's an eyesore." I looked down. Lying in my palm was a sword tassel, exquisitely crafted from silver-white threads that shimmered in the light. It was beautiful. I was stunned into silence. Tomorrow, as it happened, was my birthday. I woke feeling more refreshed than I had in years. The nightmares had been kept at bay. James was no longer in bed, but he walked in just as I was sitting up, instructing someone to prepare our meal. As he approached, his sharp, handsome features seemed to overlay the younger, greener face from my dream. He stopped before the bed, a smug look on his face. "What are you daydreaming about? Don't tell me you expect me to dress you." His inner voice was far more enthusiastic. "Of course, I would be delighted to. If only Matthew would let me. I would love to touch him again. I snuck a little hug last night when he was asleep. He strayed so thin. His waist is so slender, it makes my heart ache. I must fatten Matthew up." I watched him for a long moment before quietly dressing myself. After the meal, I sat under the pear blossom tree in the courtyard, sipping tea. James was there too, lounging nearby. For a demon lord, he seemed to have an inordinate amount of free time to supervise me. I retrieved my sword, Frost Condensation, from my storage bag. Without my spiritual power, it looked dull and lifeless. A wave of melancholy washed over me. Perhaps I would never see it shine again. My gaze fell to the silver-white tassel. "James," I said, "do you remember this? You gave it to me." His eyes were pointedly looking elsewhere, but I could see him watching me from his periphery. He feigned nonchalance. "I suppose I do. What of it?" "Thank you," I said softly. "I like it very much." I never had the chance to thank him properly back then. He had vanished right after giving it to me. James Strayed's head snapped around to look at me. Realizing his overreaction, he coughed lightly, his eyes darting away. He struggled to keep his voice steady. It is a mere trinket. This lord is not lacking in treasures. If you like such things, I can spare you a few more. But the bright red tips of his ears betrayed him completely. His mind was practically screaming with joy. What did I just hear? Matthew said he likes it. He Eurostrayed s still using the tassel I gave him. I Eurostrayed am so happy. So incredibly happy. It was all worth it. I went to the bottom of the Demon Valley to retrieve the Ice Soul Jade for that tassel. I spent months polishing it myself. My darling, my treasure, I have so many things I want to give you. Whatever you desire, I will bring the world to your feet. So that was its origin. The Demon Valley was said to be a place of extreme peril, filled with unimaginable treasures. No wonder the tassel felt so special. I couldn't suppress a small smile. This man was a walking contradiction, saying one thing while his heart screamed another. My days at Yuanqing Palace fell into a comfortable rhythm: eat, sleep, and heal. I didn't even have to cultivate, and I could see I was gaining some much-needed weight back. It was a peaceful existence, but after a while, boredom began to set in. I proposed the idea of taking a walk outside the palace grounds. James considered it for a moment, then fixed me with a serious look. Very well, but on one condition. I was surprised. Name it. You will eat one more bowl of rice at your next meal. What was his obsession with my food intake? After a moment's thought, I agreed. It's not as if he could force-feed me if I didn't. A subtle, pleased smile touched Jamsa Eurostrade's lips. Yes, Matthew is so cute. I really want to kiss him. Is this outingar Euros? Is it like our first date? I must ensure Matthew has a perfect experience. Yuanqing Palace was nestled in a remote valley. James summoned a magnificent demonic beast, an Asher, and we descended the mountain towards the bustling city of Futon. The main street was a vibrant tapestry of life, crowded but orderly. There were countless strange and fascinating things I had never seen in the immortal realm, and I found my pace slowing as I took it all in. Food, trinkets, toys or Euros. If my gaze lingered on something for more than a second, James would buy it without a word and press it into my hands. Take it, he Eurostrade say, the picture of casual wealth. But his mind was a flurry of activity. Matthew looked at that. He must like it. Buy it. Oh, he looked at that one too. Buy that one as well. This trinket is nice. It would suit him. Buy it. Is this enough? I want to buy the entire street and give it all to Matthew. Before long, my arms were so full I could barely hold everything. James, stop, I said, finally looking at him with exasperation. Eater Eurostrade's too much. We can put it in the storage bag, he replied, ready to continue his shopping spree. Seeing he wouldn't stop on his own, I had to say, let's buy more next time. That finally halted him. He replied calmly, but his mind was celebrating. Next time? Did he say next time? Does that mean Matthew wants to go out with me again? This is wonderful. I want to be with Matthew forever. I never expected that on this trip I would run into someone from my past. My former senior brother, Michael. He stood about 10 meters away, his eyes locked on me with a searing intensity. Matthew, he said, his voice hoarse. You really are in the demon realm. Seeing him again, I was calmer than I'd anticipated. But a familiar nausea roiled in my stomach. I frowned, turning to leave, wanting nothing more than to get away from him. Matthew, come back with me, Michael shouted. Don't worry, the sect will not punish you. I let out a humorless laugh. Punish me? What wrong have I committed? Besides, I am no longer a disciple of the Cold Cloud sect. You have no authority over me. His face darkened. Stop this childish rebellion. I know you feel wronged, and we will make it up to you. Or euros are you being held here against your will by James? He parades you around claiming to be your friend, but in reality he Eurostrade imprisoned you. Hasna Eurostrade he. That must be it. Otherwise, you would never choose to stay away from the Cold Cloud sect. Eater Eurostrade your home. Home? I looked at him with pure sarcasm. The place where I lost my cultivation, had my spiritual roots torn from my body, and was left for deader euros. You call that home? Stop the act, Michael. I am of no more use to you. If you are Eurostrade after my immortal bone, then forget it. I would sooner die than let you have it. All of his former warmth was gone, replaced by a repulsive, stubborn possessiveness I couldn't comprehend. If that is your choice, he said, his voice turning cold, then I will have to take you back by force. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced through my composure as he moved. I stumbled back, but he was too fast. He appeared before me in a flash, his hand reaching for me. Just as his fingers were about to touch my sleeve, a blast of violent demonic energy shot past me, striking Michael squarely in the chest and sending him flying backward. When I regained my senses, James was standing protectively in front of me, his eyes blazing with a glacial fury. His voice was laced with ice. What filthy gutter rat crawled out to lay its hands on him? You are not worthy to even breathe the same air. Michael coughed up a great mouthful of blood, clearly severely injured. His bloodshot eyes stared at James, then shifted to me, a flicker of surprise on his face when he saw that I was unharmed. Matthew Euros, you are here voluntarily? Have you gone mad? How can you consort with demons? Before he could finish his sentence, James teleported in front of him and viciously stomped his face into the dirt. You worthless insect, James hissed. Do you think you have the right to speak his name? Seeing the genuine murderous intent in James's eyes, I rushed forward. James, no. The suffocating aura around him faltered for a second, but his foot remained planted. Thinking fast, I reached out and took his hand, the one hanging loosely at his side. Let's go back, I urged. Michael was a core disciple of the number 1 sect. Killing him here would ignite a war between the realms. It wasn't worth it. James froze, stunned. Then, miraculously, he obeyed. Okay. Without a second glance at the broken man on the ground, we turned and left. On the ride back, James never let go of my hand. He was silent, but the blazing red tips of his ears told a story of their own. The anger and resentment Michael had stirred within me strangely dissipated, replaced by a quiet sense of peace. Matthew is holding my hand. Matthew took my hand first. Gods, am I dreaming? His hand is so small, so soft and warm. I want to hold it like this forever. Eurostrade am going to secretly tell the Asher to fly slower. Matthew Warner Eurostrade T notice, right? When we returned to the palace, I gently pulled my hand from his. I couldn't miss the flicker of disappointment that crossed his face before he masked it. I smiled to myself and walked into the hall without a word. James followed close behind. The silence stretched between us. After what felt like an eternity, he couldn't seem to sit still any longer, his mind beginning to race. What are Eurostrade's wrong with Matthew? He hasn't Eurostrade T said a word. Is he angry with me? Did I upset him by almost killing his former senior brother? But that man tried to touch Matthew. He insulted him. He deserved to die. But still euros I made Matthew angry. Will he ever forgive me? The powerful man in black robes slumped slightly, looking utterly dejected, lost in a spiral of self-blame. I sighed softly. James, I asked, my voice cutting through the silence. Why are you so good to me? He looked up, his eyes instantly regaining their light, only to dart away again at my question. He mumbled, when have I ever been good to you? You saved me, I stated. You had my wounds treated, using countless priceless herbs. I told you I won a euros trade to let you die before we settle our score. But in all our years of dueling, I pressed on. You never once truly injured me. That is because our strengths were evenly matched. During my time here, I've had the finest of everything. Food, clothes, shelter. I have no shortage of such things. I stared at him, my gaze unwavering, pinning him in place. Then wire euros, why did you tell Michael you were my close friend? He finally broke. A look of pure panic flashed across his face, his dark eyes flickering nervously. Euros, I just said it casually. Of course, if I told them we were lovers euros,